good morning, and welcome to a bit of a mixed bag of lollies when it comes to the weather this morning. We've got the big cloud there in front of us and blue sky above us. It's a bit foggy, that's the only thing. It's a bit of a low level cloud, so we could get a little bit moist because it sometimes manifests in like a drizzle as you're going along. But we'll see how we go. Anyway, bit fun. Straighten up a bit. Geez, that's a bit early, mate. 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, mowing your lawn. Your neighbours will appreciate that. Not. Anyway. But yeah, I haven't been on the Spyder for a little while. Had a bit of stuff going on with a little bit of a health scare that I got clearance for yesterday to say yeah I'm all good. So no, it's all good. There you go, mate. Not sure what he was up to. I think he dropped his phone. But yeah, no. Go Pete, how you going, mate? So yeah, got the clearance for that yesterday, which was good. So I'm out of the woods hopefully with that one. Just got to look after myself, as you got to do anyway as you get a bit older. And the other couple of things, we had a tropical cyclone come through southeast Queensland, which was that was a hoot. It was the slowest moving cyclone in the history of the universe, and I mean slow. It was like really slow. It seemed to take forever. They originally said it was going to hit like on the Thursday. It'd be terrible, it'd wipe everything out, and eventually it come through early Sunday morning and through to Brisbane and got us pretty bad early Sunday morning up here in Toowoomba as well. Most of the trees I think have been cleaned up now because it was about a week ago, so there's probably still a few lying around in places, but most of it's been cleaned up, so that put a dent in things. But in amongst all that, I had the unfortunate thing of my mum passing at 93 years of age. A wonderful lady, and will be sorely missed. But yeah, that was the worst part of my month and a bit off the bike, was that, and the major reason I took time off the bike. But back on again today, and off down to Brisbane to catch up with the guys and gals who we were supposed to go and catch up with last weekend, but the cyclone put a bit of a dampener on that, literally. And I'll catch up with them and have a yak and see how things are going and see what trips people have got planned. There's one guy planning a trip to Tassie. He'll want to pick my brain, and there we go, a bit of water. Woohoo! That's still left over from last week, still seeping out of the road. But yeah, he'll want to pick my brain for things, which I don't mind. I like helping people out with that sort of stuff. It's always good to give them a bit of a hand and point them in the direction of the mistakes that I made and the things I got right. But yeah, what do they say? Learn by other people's mistakes, not your own. Unfortunately for me, because I do things fairly well up front, I tend to be the one trying to figure out what's a mistake and what's not. Although I did learn a fair bit before I went to Tassie from Tony from South Oz. He certainly gave me some good tips up there. What else is going on? Oh yeah, I've bought some things that I'm getting done in the next couple of weeks. Going to get 3 new tyres put on the Spyder and a sway bar. And I've found out, I wasn't aware of it, but I found out I've got some extra adjustment on my rear shock I didn't realise that I had, and I've adjusted that, and just in that little short bit I've done just there, that feels way different. It was a real sort of bouncy, sort of floaty bounce that I had, and I've just stiffened it up a little bit with the changed the rebound feature of it to be a little bit quicker, and yeah, I prefer that. That's because I'm a heavier chap. Just stiffen him up a little bit, and that's come up really good. Combine that with the new YSS shocks on the front, it's pretty good. I've also got a sway bar sitting at home, which will it'll go into the trailer, and it'll head up to Coolum with me, to John up at Coolum, who does all my work. He can install me a sway bar and 3 new tyres and give it a 50,000 k service, and everyone's going, oh, hang on, don't get the service 50. That's due. It's nearly 10,000 k since I had it serviced, because I've done a couple of trips in between when I had it serviced last, and I like to get it serviced every 10 just to make sure, just to yeah, keep the oil nice and clean and all the filters and stuff like that. Yeah, it costs you a bit extra, but in the long run it costs you a bit less. So yeah, so I've got a plan, bit of that, and on my noggin I have a new helmet. I found when I bought the latest HJC Alpha 91, which is the modular helmet from HJC, it was a different shape to the 90, and it was really pressing on my forehead, and it was like, oh, that's not very nice. Okay for short rides, but when you're doing a long day, like today's going to be a fairly long day, probably getting up around the 400k mark, yeah, it's not fun. So I decided to that can be my short ride helmet, and this one that I've got will be my long ride helmet. And this one is the Shoei Neotech 3 with the red, white, blue and black graphic on it. It's quite nice. So yes, that's what I've been up to. But it's going to be a busy March for the rest of March. It's only early March at the moment. Busy for the rest of March. I've got some work travel that I've got to do, so that'll keep me off the bike. And then I've got to race up in the end of March and get this work done, so there's a little bit more time out of it, and throw in some more time away for other work that I've got to do locally, but got to travel a bit to do it. And all of a sudden March has gone. So April, which is usually my really get in and do some trips month, because the weather's really nice in April in Queensland, is going to be my sigh of relief and take it easy and recover from a very, very busy March. Well, that's the plan anyway. And some trips, or a trip at the end of May, down through Tamworth to visit the motorcycle museum down there. Haven't been there before, but all those who have are a big rap for it. So it's fantastic, worth the trip. So we're going to head down to Tamworth and take a peek at that. That's the end of May. June, yeah, just quiet. July, towards the end of July, we'll head down through winter, fairly cold winter mornings. We'll head down through southern Queensland and out through a little bit of we'll call it Western Queensland, even though Queensland's very big, but it's towards the western area from where we are here. And we'll go and have a look down through Gundawindi, Mungandai, Mindy Gully, St George, Roma, back through to Toowoomba Way. So a bit of a round trip there to take in a bit of the cooler climate, and also some interesting parts of Queensland that people don't normally go and see. Some of the smaller country towns with some silo art and other sort of other paintings, and pubs that are the oldest pub in Queensland still operating is out there at Mindy Gully and those sort of places. So we'll go and do that and have a bit of a peek. So that's my first half of the year all planned out for my rides. I'm hoping that the roads down this way are still okay, because there was a fair flooding down this way this week, especially down around the Lockyer Valley area. Trucks going down the hill. They go down so slow because they're got low gear and plenty of weight on, carrying lots of goods and other stuff. I just discovered something about a new helmet. Got to figure out where all the bits and pieces are. I went to bring down a little sunshade on the inside, and of course it was like, oh, how does that come down? There it is on the side. I've got to feel where it is. So no, we're all good. All right. I might turn off for a little while and let it be, and see if I can capture some interesting stuff on the way down. Whew. So that's the end of the Toowoomba bypass. It's nice and quiet along there. So that was good to get that out of the way. Pretty low in traffic, but it takes all the trucks out of Toowoomba, which is and a lot of other traffic as well, but mostly the trucks, which, because there's so many traffic lights through Toowoomba, that they slow the whole joint down. So we found that it's a lot quicker to get around Toowoomba nowadays without those that bypassing there. So that's a bonus, absolute bonus. Ooh, that sun is bright. So we're into autumn in Australia now, or fall for our American friends. So yeah, it's hopefully starting to cool off a little bit. But I'm going to Darwin this coming week for some work stuff. And for those around the world who are not aware of what Darwin is, apart from being a wonderful botanist back in the 1700s, Charles Darwin. Darwin is a capital city of the Northern Territory of Australia, and it is stinking hot, stinking humid. So my max temperature in Brisbane today, max temperature in Brisbane today is going to be 29, and the max temperature at Toowoomba today is going to be 26. The minimum temperature when I'm up there this week, in the morning that I'm waking up there, it will be a balmy 26 degrees in the morning, 34 during the day, probably 100% humidity, and you can expect a thunderstorm in the afternoon. It's well and truly into the tropics, and coming from Toowoomba, where there's very little humidity, going up to Darwin is going to be a bit of a shock to the system in the middle of what is still technically up there the wet season. So yeah, poor old Steve's going to got a bit of a flogging. Anyway, it is what it is. Deal with it. Well, I'll see if I can get a picture of this lovely helmet by spinning the camera around, because I've changed the camera around where I normally have it. So I don't know whether that's going to pick me up or not, but that's the design of the helmet. Quite funky, the Neotech 3. While I'm at it, let's see whether that camera gets over the top of the water bottle. Probably doesn't. Playing with the camera at the moment, trying to figure out where the best spot is. I think the best spot is to actually have it fixed on the bike, so that it's not continually getting that back and forth from my helmet, and it just gets the bit forward. But yeah, let me know what you think, whether it should put on the helmet and get the helmet movement, or whether stick it on the front and let it do its thing. I've also changed the position of the GPS, because the GPS mount, which was a stick-on type, broke. Not the sticky part, but the actual where the mount itself comes together from the ball, because I put a slightly longer arm on it, and it was enough to give it that vibration, and the length of this arm gave it a little bit more force, and it cracked it. And I thought, well, I'll put it down on the handlebars. So I've got it on the handlebar at the moment, and it's probably a little bit low for what I like, so I might put a slightly longer one on there yet and go from there, but we'll see that. Get a bit of a setup, tinker with it. Yeah, that shock is definitely stiffer. It doesn't give as much bounce as what it was, so I think I was actually on like the lowest rebound amount previously, and I've got it probably a little bit firm, but that's okay. Once I put that trailer on the back and a bit of other gear on the bike when I travel, it'll be perfect. Lovely day though. Fine, sunny, 29, magic. Oh, it's a very nice car. Got the CL350 Mercedes. And no idea, because she just chopped straight off the mind you, I'm in the full drive clacker. Fair enough. Didn't have to slow down. Fair enough. Woohoo! So what else is going on with things? Oh, the buttons have slowed down. That's a good thing. But still got some. If anyone's interested in the buttons for the turn signal and the shifter, I've still got some of those, but not many. But I've got those. I've ordered shirts for the Spyder enthusiast group that I'm going to have coffee with today. So we've got our shirts coming, and of course they'll arrive next week while I'm away, and of course the week after we get together, which wouldn't have seemed so bad, except that we got this one set back a week, and everyone will go, oh, if only they'd have been here this week. Yeah, but just remember that when they were due to come was actually 2 weeks after the previous meeting, but that's okay. Anyway, we'll get them there. So they'll be there in time for the April meetup, which will be pretty good. Whew. That sun is bright, so I don't think this drop-down visor on the Neotech 3 is as dark as one on my HJC. So that's a bit of a thing that I'll have to think about getting myself maybe a tinted visor, which I don't want to do. Don't want to do that. Might work out whether I need to put a little bit of tape or something on there to stop the sun coming in, or whether just to ride later in the mornings. We did take off at 7 this morning, and the sun is coming up a little bit later than what it was. Oh, that's the other thing I've got. I've got myself a dash cam. I'm not sure how to pronounce the brand. Is it the VSYSTO or something? I'll put the brand up there. So relatively cheap one. So gonna give it a go. I haven't mounted it yet. I thought about mounting it last night. Last night was the first time I had the opportunity to actually get up to the bike. So the Spyder's filthy at the moment, covered in dust. Everything's covered in dust from the wind last week. But I've got to get it all configured and mounted up. So I'll do that over the next few weeks, and I'll have myself a dash cam. Don't know what it'll be like, but yeah, a few of the guys have got them, and I think it'll be handy for when people do stupid stuff. You can capture that stupid stuff, especially when they're doing stupid stuff behind you. So see how that all pans out. Ooh, nice. Also got a thought process of possibly getting a second Spyder. I'm still mulling that one over. I want to get an F3 Limited and do it up into a day ride so that I can take my wheelchair with me, because I'm starting to struggle a bit on the 2 sticks that I use to walk around. I'm starting to really struggle on those, and for people who don't quite understand the, you know, hey, why do you need a wheelchair if you can walk a bit? The way I like to put it is it'd be like most people sprinting everywhere with me walking. It's quite hard on the body when you're doing a long day on the bike. So, for example, if I go and meet the guys at the Sunshine Coast, it'd be nice just to be able to go, hey, I really need to just not walk as much. Although walking is good for you, too much of a good thing's no good for you. So I'm toying up with that idea, and the other part of that is I either need to get a bigger shed or put a few of the garden implements that are in my shed at home, put them into a garden shed. So yeah, toying with that idea. See what happens. It'd be nice to have one. I could probably, if I got an F3 Limited, I could probably put a tow rack on it, tow bar on it, tow hitch, call it what you want, and I could probably use it for my trips as well. So, you know, I might even consider selling this one and keep going with that. But this thing is just so comfy to ride and so well set up for touring. It's just, yeah, the best thing I've toured on yet is this thing. I know those 2 trips that I did last year, where we did, you know, 2 weeks out through Western Queensland or Central Queensland, and 2 weeks up through or down through to Bathurst and back. Yeah, this thing was superb for touring on. Corner's like an old bus, but you know, I'll see what it comes up like with the sway bar on it, which I've got. It's a Baja Ron sway bar for all those thinking what sway bars are using. I've had the what was the one from Rabbit Works. I've had 2 of those previously. They were very good, but he doesn't sell them anymore. But the guy that made the originals still making them under signature sway bars, but they don't come with links. And I went, no, I really want to get the links as well. And a couple of the guys that have got the Baja Ron on the RTs, I think they're pretty good. So I'm gonna give those a bit of a crack, see how we go. All right, so that's me. I'm probably going to switch the camera off now and just roll my way to Brizzy and enjoy the trip down. But yeah, there's been a few things going on in my life. Got some new gear, including my Neotech 3. Also got my new, oh, that's nasty. Also got my dash cam that I've got to fit, and I've got some trips coming up in May and July. Alright, for those in Australia, it's just coming into what I call the best time of the year to ride, that autumn, especially down through the New England area of New South Wales. Just if you can get down to that area, go now, because it's just beautiful down that way. But yeah, enjoy your ride, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.